The clock struck midnight, and the soft hum of the city filtered through the window, faintly audible in Lily's small apartment. She sat alone, the glow of her phone casting an eerie light on her face as she scrolled through various horror forums. Urban legends and ghost stories had always fascinated her, but tonight she was in search of something that would truly unsettle her. Her eyes caught a thread titled, "Black-Eyed Children, Have You Seen Them?" Lily had heard whispers of the black-eyed children before, but she never took the stories seriously. Children with pale skin, black eyes, and an unsettling presence, showing up at people's doors and asking to be let in. The accounts always followed the same pattern. They appeared in pairs, asking for help and insisting they needed to be invited inside. Once someone let them in, terrible things would follow: illness, misfortune, or worse. The idea of children with pitch-black eyes knocking on doors seemed absurd. But as Lily read story after story, an unease crept in. These weren't just local tales, they came from all over the world. Different people, different places, yet the same chilling details. She found herself wondering, what if? Her phone buzzed, breaking her concentration. A message from her best friend, Rachel, asking if she wanted to meet for lunch tomorrow. Lily replied quickly, agreeing to meet, but as she set her phone down, she heard something faint, a knock at the door. Her heart skipped a beat. It's just the city noises, she told herself, trying to shake the sudden wave of anxiety. But the knock came again, soft, almost polite, yet persistent. Lily hesitated. It was well past midnight, and she never had visitors at this hour. The knock came again, a little louder this time. Taking a deep breath, she stood and made her way to the door, her pulse quickening. She peered through the peephole and saw two small figures standing in the dimly lit hallway. Two boys, heads bowed, wearing dark hoodies. They looked young, maybe 10 or so, and Lily felt a twinge of sympathy. They were standing so still, shuffling slightly, and something about them seemed off. She unlocked the door and opened it just a crack, enough to speak through. "Are you lost?" she asked, keeping her voice gentle but cautious. One of the boys lifted his head slightly, though the shadow of his hood still hid most of his face. "We need to come inside," he said, his voice flat and emotionless. Lily felt her grip on the door tighten. Lily's pulse quickened, her unease deepening. The second boy slowly raised his head, revealing his face fully. Her blood ran cold, his eyes completely black. No whites, no irises, just deep, dark voids staring back at her. Her heart raced as the first boy lifted his head as well, revealing the same soulless black eyes. Panic surged through Lily's body as she slammed the door shut with all her strength, her hands trembling as she locked it. The knocking resumed almost immediately, this time harder, more urgent. "Let us in," the boys' voices echoed in unison, growing louder and more demanding with each knock. "We need to come inside." Lily backed away from the door, her breath quick and shallow, pressing herself against the wall. She didn't dare make a sound, too afraid to do anything that might encourage them to stay. The pounding continued, relentless, the voices growing more frantic. Time seemed to stretch on forever, though it could have been just minutes. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, the knocking stopped. The apartment fell silent. The only sound left was the distant hum of the city outside. Lily stayed frozen, her body tense, listening for any signs that the boys were still there. But there were no more knocks, no voices, no footsteps. They were gone. Now. But even as she stood there in the quiet, safe behind her locked door, Lily knew she would never forget that night. The black eyes of those boys would haunt her forever, lingering in the shadows of her mind long after they had disappeared. Every time Lily heard a knock at her door, no matter the hour, the memory of that terrifying night would flood back, and the voices of the black-eyed children would echo in her mind, whispering, "Let us in." Even in the safety of her locked apartment, she couldn't shake the dread that they might one day return, their hollow eyes and eerie demands waiting just beyond the door.